Welcome to our series where we discuss the latest real estate trends with Canada's most prominent business leaders, asking better questions to help build a better working world. This is Reimagining Real Estate. I'm William Yeager, a partner at EY Canada. In my role, I explore the newest real estate trends influencing the country's largest industry and ask the better questions that keep us ahead of the curve. Today, I'm joined by the Chief Investment and Innovation Officer at Ivanhoé Cambridge, Sylvain Fortier. Sylvain, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure, William. Good to be here and good to see you.
Let's discuss the retail sector. Retail was shifting long before COVID, but it seems to be that COVID has clearly accelerated that transition. How does Ivanhoé Cambridge plan on managing your existing retail portfolio, and where do you see the future of retail? Personally, I think experiential is probably what we're going to end up seeing a lot more of, obviously in a post-vaccine and post-sanitary measure environment, but curious to hear what you have to say about it.
Well, I think retail has been under disruption for many years, like you say. The key to me is to have a collection of brands and stores and usage that have a strategy for physical space and virtual connectivity with consumers, number one. Number two, we need to look at today's retail assets simply as real estate assets, not solely retail, but just real estate, where you can have a collection of usage. Entertainment is very much needed. Experiential is very much wanted. The food and beverage component is increasingly important. And you have also a lot of demand for space that is associated with logistics, with home delivery, with returns of products that we need to address. At our end, we have different realities. We have 24 malls throughout Canada. And as you know, it's been very hard, depending on the jurisdiction. Many of them had to be closed down for several months. And I think the key forward is to have a combination of expertise that we might not have had in the past. So anything related to e-commerce, to digital, to brand relationships, to reinventing assets to accommodate other usage will be absolutely key to stay successful. One important aspect will be to gather better data and be able to better understand who is actually physically going to these assets and why. And from that point on, you can adjust and improve the offering of every property.
Thanks for that, Sylvain. On the innovation side, how do you see the impact of digital transformation playing a role in real estate? And talk to us a little bit about trends in prop tech and what you think we should be keeping our eyes on.
Yeah, so we have started to look at prop tech just pre-pandemic, 2019. I think the real estate industry is very old-fashioned, very conservative. We tend to lease our space on a very long-term basis. But we're now talking to end users that are very much using their intelligent phone, their iPhone, and are used to be spoken to that way. And I think that the increase in various usage of the space will force owners, landlords, to reach the end users differently. We need to start offering different services. We need to reach them. We need to speak to them. And it has to be over and above the corporate tenant. We need to be able to really target the people that are inside our building. And I think that the prop tech, we've started investing in certain funds that gives us access to smaller companies, startups that bring today's world into our assets instead of just depending on the old-fashioned long-term lease, corporate to corporate, where we kind of forgot about the people inside. And so to me, it's going to differentiate who's going to be successful or less successful is your capacity to adjust to the end user in your building and potentially help the tenant attract and retain talent. That's going to be key. And I think that every real estate asset will have to consider different usage depending on the hour of the day or the day of the week. And this goes through data collection and management. And from there, you can really start innovating and thinking outside the box.
I couldn't agree more, Sylvain. How do you prioritize capital with so many opportunities being brought to you?
So we started as a company investing in office and retail, and it used to be Canada only in these two asset classes. We've started adding residential about 10 years ago and logistics about 5 years ago, and we've started going a while ago elsewhere in North America, then in Europe, then in Asia. And now as we're sitting at home and as logistics is becoming so important because of e-commerce, everything that we need sits in a industrial logistics type building, and everybody's sitting at home in a residential type format. And so we want to continue investing in these two asset classes, but we'll also be digging within these two asset classes into sub asset classes. For instance, we're getting into manufactured housing. We are considering single family rentals. We're doing student housing in Europe. We will look again at the senior housing. So within residential, there's a range of sub-asset classes that we want to look at. Same with logistics, whether it's last mile delivery, whether it's maybe robotics eventually, whether it's data centers, that is a bit of a stretch from logistics, but still kind of qualifies as a logistics. We want to diversify but stick to those main asset classes. I think this is where most of the institutional capital and most of the lenders will also be focusing in the next few years, as many of us have an important office and retail portfolio already. So if you want to diversify and truly have complete exposure to real estate, you should tackle essentially what you have less of.
Sylvain, this was really enlightening and really interesting. Thank you again so much for your time, and can't wait to get together in person, hopefully sometime really soon.
It's my pleasure, William.